Welcome back. I'm Emily at Emily's podcast, Tribute to All Little Angels, Part 6, Episode 2 of Refresh Our Memory, September 7th, 2022. Good morning. Good day. At 2:38 p.m., we went to the cemetery. Zoe, Lily, Madison, and I. We have taken new flowers out to Megan and Wyatt. Zoe arranged Wyatt's flowers, and Lily arranged Megan's in the dirt. I did take pictures, as you know. When we returned home, the girls hung out, and I recorded to get another episode done. September 8th, 2022. I thank God. I start my day. I'm continuing to record episodes and edit after each one. And of course, living daily life as it comes. It seems, though, I have made it a habit of after every episode to tell the public, the audience, thank you for listening. Stay kind with your words. And keep in mind, too, I'm telling Megan's story to seek help with how to fix this, how to make it right. September 10th, 2022. I'm so grateful for this morning, this afternoon, this day. As my episodes play on air, someone mentions, I noticed the cliffhangers you're giving and hints of where it's happening, but you're not saying where. Are you going to? And of course I said yes. It will be known as everything is told. 2:29 p.m. we went to the cemetery. Everything looks good at Wyatt's. I pull around to visit Megan, and after we visit with both of them, we left the cemetery. I had a few errands to run before going home. When we got home, I relaxed for a bit and then was ready for bed. September 11th, 2022. Prayers said. Thank you for this day in the here and now. September 12th, 2022. This morning I'm looking for information for the governors, yet again, in the surrounding states. I'm looking for email addresses. And later this afternoon, I have a visitor. It pertains to someone else's business, so we will not discuss that. But as the visitor is here, she asked, what can I do to help you? I did mention some of the story to her, and with the concerns of the kids being in the next room, she listened while I spoke softly, and when she was ready to leave, she left me one of her business cards, and I gave her one of mine. Now, as she leaves, I did tell her a bit of the story in hopes she may call and want to help. September 14th, 2022. My day starts and I'm so grateful I'm still here. 2:23 p.m. we went to the cemetery. I did take pictures. Yes, Megan's flowers are here, and I'm grateful for that. And of course, when I arrived home, I record. And I do have to say, this first month of recording, I can feel it. I feel it in my heart. I'm hurt. I'm broken. But I'm not giving up on Megan. There's no way. September 15th, 2022. Part 2, Episode 6 is ready. It plays tomorrow evening. And I love you, angels. September 17th, 2022. Every now and then I have to ask God to bless me to use my voice for Megan. September 19th, 2022. My eyes open, and I'm grateful for that. Part 2, Episode 7, is edited and recorded. And one more thing. I know I've made mistakes fumbling with my words and such, but I own it. And I know one mistake I did make, and after double checking, I truly apologize. The letter I received from our own governor, he had advised me to write to the funeral board, not to the Attorney General. And I do truly apologize and own it and fixed it. It's that simple. And I do appreciate his advice that was given. And I did take it to no avail. I also talked with Patty today. We had been juggling around what to name the law for Megan and her story. As Patty and I are talking, she asked, "Is there a marker or anything there to identify Megan's area?" I said, "There is a Babyland 6th West sign. It has stood in the same area under the same tree since the early 2000s, from what the pictures show." Patty said, "I'm trying to think of a name for the law." I said, "I'm sure there is already a Megan's Law." Patty said, "Oh, yeah, there could be, but they have laws of names all the time." Patty thought for a moment and ran some of her thoughts by me, and then out of nowhere she says, "6 West Law." And my first thought is, I like that. So yes, we can go with that one. And thank you again, Patty. Wow, what a day. September 20th, 2022. This morning when I woke up, I said, "Thank you, God." A thought then came to mind that lately, if you haven't noticed or have noticed, my mornings are lessening of me being so emotional. And I'm so proud of myself. And later on, early in the afternoon, I read a verse that said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free." John 8:32. And lately, too, some of the sayings or verses I've been reading, I should say, have been hitting right on. And thank you for that. Part 2, Episode 8 is ready. At 2:19 p.m. I went to the cemetery. I visit with Megan and Wyatt, and I've been having this feeling, a premonition feeling to get the episodes done. I asked my angels then to send someone to help us. I then heard her soft little voice say, "Keep recording." I thought, and then I said silently, "I am, baby, and I will continue until I get it done." September 21st, 2022. I'm so very grateful for so much. The recordings seem to be working, and I'm happy about that. I did record part 2, episode 8. It is scheduled for September 23rd at 8 p.m. And then my phone rings. It's my brother John. We talk. He said, "Sis, don't let this get too fast for you or go too fast with this." I said, "Oh, I know." John said, "Don't let them tear you down. Don't let them get the best of you." I said, "John, if anything, this is bringing out the best in me." John said, "Oh, good. Okay, good, sis." I said, "In fact, I know it is." And him and I talked a little longer and then hung up. And later this evening, I'm talking to my sister Susie, and I told her reliving the timeline seems as though it's a self therapy to help me work through it. Susie said, yes, it could very well be. And at least now, when you talk about it, you can get through it without crying. I said, oh, you've noticed. And I laughed a little. I noticed too. Susie said, I have noticed. Before, every time the conversation came up, you would cry and get mad, and then it would make me mad. I said, oh, I know, and I'm sorry, but I do believe it has helped me learn to live and continue to live and work through until the finish line. Susie said, yes. Very good, sis. Susie and I then worked toward a web page, and I thank you so much for all of your help, Susie. September 22nd, 2022. Emails were sent to anyone and everyone. September 23rd, 2022. Good morning again. Thank you, God. And as for noticing, I noticed today some odd names are joining the cemetery cover-up page. And of course, I like to see that. Any one of them could be our person. I did record this afternoon, part 3, episode 1, and for some reason, I had to go lay down. And while laying here, I thought, I was just talking about self-therapy working through the story, and it hit me again. The emotional side of it all. It is so tough at times. It takes everything out of me. I laid here and I prayed. I then had this premonition feeling, a feeling to get the story told. I cried. I said in my mind, I will. Then I thought, I'm telling it and I'm trying the best I can. September 25th, 2022. I'm trying to push through this morning. I thank God. I start my day by editing the story and then I start recording. When I was done, I needed a break, so at 1:54 p.m. we went to the cemetery. I pull up to Wyatt, visit with him for a while. I pray to him, I cry to him, and I ask God to lift the weight. I stood with Wyatt for a little longer and then walked toward the car. I then pulled around to visit Megan. I prayed to her, and I sat with her to cry. I sat and cried. A little while later, I told my angels, I love you, babies, and I pulled away. Before going home, I took a ride listening to music. I rode around until I felt better. Then I went home. It does seem to help. Later this evening, Susie made me feel better by calling, and us together working on the podcast, setting everything up. The domain name, we have to come up with a pitch now to let sponsors know what our podcast is. Susie said, I'm having fun doing this with you. I said, well, sis, I'm so thankful you have set it up. And you are the one doing all the work except the recording. And I appreciate it so much. Megan and the rest appreciates it too. Susie said, you're welcome. They are all welcome. And I know Susie welcomes me. But my sister just doesn't know how much this means to me. I'm so grateful for you. September 26, 2022. Part 3, Episode 2 has been recorded. My friend Lisa then called. She spoke of a dream she had, She said, usually when I dream of something, it comes true. I said, oh, wow. I said, I know others who have said that same thing, and I certainly hope this dream comes true. And after we were done talking and hung up, I start editing the next episode. I'm getting tired before I could finish, so I'm going to bed. September 27th, 2022. I'm happy to see the sunlight. And thank you, dear God. I start editing again, which I didn't finish from last night, but I did get it done. I did record part 3, episode 4. It's scheduled for Friday, September 30th, 2022 at 8 p.m. Yeah, and as I finished, I thought, there are fumblings with my words, but the main thing is Megan's story is being told. September 28, 2022. Thank you again when my eyes opened. My days seem to be spent with a lot of time editing and recording. But when I take breaks, I make it count. September 29th, 2022. Another day to be grateful for. My days do seem to be getting easier, and thank you for that. Thank you for lifting the weight. I did also get to record and edit another episode, part 3, episode 5. I accomplished quite a bit today. September 30th, 2022. Part 3, episode 4 plays tonight at 8 p.m. And I pray, as whomever it is that's listening, I pray one person, just one, may want to help, or more. But anyway, I did get the recording, part 3, episode 5, scheduled for October 3rd, 2022 at 8 p.m. And Susie always tells me in messages or conversations, you are awesome. She shows me the numbers and they just keep climbing. People are listening. And I say back to her, you are the one that has done this. I have just recorded the story, which, yeah, I know it's not easy, but you are the one working to set it all up. You are the one who is awesome. So I tell her, you didn't, I didn't, we did it. October 2nd, 2022. I'm so thankful God gave me this day. Thank you. Other than editing, I didn't do much more today except go to the cemetery. 2:50 p.m. I pull into the cemetery and I went back to Wyatt, looking over at Megan while passing by. I visit with both, I pray to them, and of course I took pictures. When I returned home, I relaxed until I went to bed. Everyone have a good night. October 3rd, 2022. I edited, I recorded. I did get part 3, episode 6 done. October 4th, 2022. Thank you that I see today. I'm working to redo part 3, episode 6, Too Many Fumbles. I ended by telling where people can find Emily's podcast at. Susie then called. She said, I'm receiving messages, like 15 of them. I said, oh, wow, really? Susie said, yes, let me look. I held on. Susie said, a woman named Molly, something or other, is letting Susie knows she likes part 2, episode 8. I said, really? Wow. Susie said, yes, really. It's really cool. I said, it really is. And Susie, thank you for all of this. She said, "You are welcome." And I like the positive comments. Thank you for this day. October 5th, 2022. Again, grateful for this day. So thankful for my babies, my family, and friends. I did record. I, to me, I seem to be getting better at the recordings, or I hope I am. And I seem to be getting stronger to talk about this story without bawling like a baby. But who can blame me? This is my granddaughter we are talking about. What if she was yours or one of yours? We did make it to the cemetery today. At 6:50 p.m., I pull up to Wyatt. Zoe, Lily, Madison, and I visit with him a little bit. I pull up to Megan. We visit with her. And of course, I took pictures. Not long after we left the cemetery. And thank you, Megan. We arrive home safely. And thank you, God, for this day. October 7th, 2022. My morning is good. I'm recording this afternoon, part 3, episode 7. I had quite a bit of fumbles with my words, so I did have to start again, but I got it done. These days of recordings and editing, it turns into late nights, and it's not easy. I'm going to bed. Have a good night. October 8th, 2022. This morning I'm having good thoughts. I did edit, I did record part 3, episode 8, and with all this recording, I hope on some days I can take a break, and at times I can, and the days I can't, it kicks my behind. Prayers appreciated. October 9th, 2022. Another day I'm awoke. Thank you. I start this day by editing and recording. I also made it to the cemetery, but first I took Zoe and Lily to the store to pick out flowers for each of them. 1:51 p.m. I pull into the cemetery. I went back to visit Wyatt. Zoe arranged Wyatt's flowers in his vase. I did take a couple pictures. We visit with him. Then I pull around to visit Megan. I took pictures, and of course, Lily arranged Megan's flowers, sticking them in the ground. But before she stuck them in the ground, she was trying to pull the flowers that were already there, and she pulled one at a time out. And out of 5 flowers, she got to the last one, a pretty purple in color, and that darn flower would not pull out of the dirt. Lily tried, Zoe tried, I even tried. It wasn't budging. So I told Lily, just leave it in there and put the other flowers around it. And Lily did. We visit with Megan for a little longer, and I looked around the area, and I will be keeping an eye on things closely. Yet again, you can never be too careful. 2:56 p.m. As I walked toward the car, I looked down and saw a heart-shaped rock stuck in the dirt. I tell my angels I love them, and I pull out of the cemetery, and I went home. For me to record and edit, I have to keep getting it done. October 12th, 2022, 7:20 a.m. My phone dings as if I have a message. I didn't look to see at this time who it was, but after I got some things done, I messaged her back. It's Summer. She wrote, "How are you?" I wrote, "Hi. Sorry for the late response. My morning has been busy. I'm good though. It could be better. I'm still putting the story on the podcast. Wishing for help. How are you?" And as my day starts, I did edit for another month or two. I did also get part 4, episode 1 done. 4:41 p.m. we went to the cemetery. Everything seems to be good in both areas. And just a thought, you know, since Shelby, my niece, came down and found the imprint of the plot marker in the grass, I am and I will keep an eye on things here more often. And of course, take pictures to compare the changes, if any. And by that happening, I know I am put right here to tell Megan's story with my proof by the grace of God, the force of the spirits at times telling me, showing me to do this or do that. And I think back that if I would have gone to the cemetery when I first got the premonition to go, I may have found the plot marker indents. But we will never know. But I do know it wasn't meant for me to find it. It was meant for Shelby to find it. And I thank her. And one more time, I would have followed my gut instincts in 2019, November of, if I would have went to the cemetery at 3 a.m. in the morning, I may have seen what picture shows of what happened. If you know the area for all those years, my gratitude is for everyone who has helped in one way or another. October 13th, 2022. Not too bad of a morning or afternoon. I'm thinking at times I may be coming back around to being me again. Not that I ever left, but my emotions took over. And I thank God for this. 5:28 p.m. We did get 2 responses from 2 people in this state. They both sent messages, so I'm very grateful for that too. And on this day also, we changed the days of the podcast to air. Instead of Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, it will air Tuesday and Fridays. Same time, 8 p.m. And keep in mind, we need help with this to get this resolved. Let's make sure it doesn't happen to you or your loved one or anyone else's loved ones. I did get part 4, episode 1 recorded, and my day has become relaxing. October 17th, 2022. Today, or at least this morning, seems a little easier. I went with it. I have to. 4:44 p.m. We went to the cemetery, and as I visit with Wyatt and Megan, I have another premonition feeling, an intuition feeling, whatever it is they send to me. Megan is telling me to compare the pictures from 1999 to 2022 of how the headstones are lined in a row. Of course, I feel her. I felt her. I heard her. And I will check it out too. I also have checked in the pictures of when the headstones that were put in 2019 in an area where headstones have been moved to. At first, seeing a stake in the ground to set in a new headstone, you think it's a new burial, not a headstone that the deceased passed away in 1992, 7 years before Megan. Now, if this headstone was set in due to it being missing and it's being replaced, or the family is just now able to purchase one, my only concern is the headstone in question, west of where Megan was laid to rest. There is not a headstone in the picture from 1999, 2004, 2008. There's no headstone there then to be dated for 1992. This headstone was placed in the wrong area. because the headstones in this area have been moved to the south by floodwater. The headstones in Babyland 6 West that sits south of the existing tree should set to the north of the existing tree. True facts. And yes, you know I was crying. If you take time to watch the overlay picture, it's visible. And the tree roots of the existing tree matches to the south tree where we buried Megan. They did not cut down a tree, and especially not the south tree. October 18th, 2022. I spent most of the morning and afternoon editing part 4, episode 2. And later on, I did read, "Faith is my anchor in a sea of doubt. Ask in faith, never doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind." James 1:6. Amen. October 19th and 20 of 2022, I relaxed. I needed the break. October 21st, 2022. Thankful again for seeing a new day. I've been trying to record, and I'm trying hard. I really do. The emotions of it all dredged up, and it is definitely tough to get through. At times, I just cannot do it, but it's not stopping me. October 22nd, 2022. I need to step away. In the next few days, I did just that. October 27th, 2022. On this day, I'm grateful. We did receive an email from Kansas asking questions, and I'm happy to finally get some response. I did answer the questions. In fact, we received 6 more, and you already know I'm so thankful for all of it. October 28, 2022. My eyes open and I thank God. This morning is a kickback kind of start. At 12:35 p.m. we went to the cemetery. I pull up to Wyatt, we visit with him, and I ask him to guide me. And a short time later, I pull around to visit Megan. Her flowers are still here, and you know I took pictures. I ask her also to watch over me and to guide me. And soon after, we left the cemetery. And later this evening, 8:26 p.m., Susie and I were talking, and she brought up the identity bracelet idea. She said, "Something you were giving when you came into the world is again given to you when you leave the world. Yet again." Thank you, Susie, for the great idea. Susie and I then worked on the web page. We did name it. We thought of the domain name. She set it all up. We are now thinking of a pitch. Her and I worked on it until early morning hours, and I'm so grateful. October 30th, 2022. Another morning. So grateful. I'm raring to get started again. I will keep this short. I recorded all day, and I start to feel it too. It takes so much out of me. But from the very beginning, I would cry. No, I would sob. I was also confused of why no one would want to help. Yes, at times when I'd reach out, not having any idea of how to even do any of this, I would tell. No, wait. I would cry. I would sob, trying to tell Megan's story. And every time, no matter who it was, I would get nowhere. And at times I did receive good advice, but it's still not concluded. And it's not been easy. It's been terrible, like nothing I've ever been through before in my life. I have never had to count the days of when I've cried and when I didn't. And my days are still with tears. Everyone have a good night. October 31st, 2022. Thank you. Looking up this morning. This afternoon I record and I finished it. Part 4, Episode 6, scheduled to air November 1st, 2022 at 8 p.m. 5:47 p.m. I went to the cemetery. And of course, because it's Halloween. When I came out here by myself, I have someone else with me other than Madison, or I go with someone on the phone with me. This time I'm on the phone with my brother John. He came with me. I visit Wyatt. I sat on the street in the car. I prayed to him. I cried to him. And I told him I loved him. And then I pull away. I went to visit Megan, and I ask her for guidance and knowledge. And as I sit with her, I did walk over to her area just to check things out. I went back to the car and sat with both of them while still talking with my brother John. And then a little bit later, I pull away. I'm quiet, and so is John. I drove home and relaxed the rest of the night. Everyone have a good night. Thank you for listening. Stay kind with your words.